everybody, and thank you for joining us for ChasingCinema.com's 132nd podcast. And if you don't know my voice already, let me reintroduce myself. I am Jacob Toronto, and I am joined by my little faithful co-host / best friend,
Louis Corazolo.
However, if it's your first time tuning into our podcast, you are about 131 podcasts late. But that's okay. We are glad you're joining us today. We're glad you hit that download button. For all of you guys listening to us, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can get us downloaded without you even having to do anything to your iTunes immediately each week. So you don't even got to click anything. It'll just come straight to you each week. Now, today is a little bit early in the week because it is Thanksgiving. But this will be published after Thanksgiving. So, but from me and Louis and from Jason Cinema, we want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. Louis, do you have a movie you watch every Thanksgiving?
See, that's difficult because as much as I do love films, and especially, you know, when you think Thanksgiving, you kind of think of planes, trains, and automobiles. Every Thanksgiving, you know, we're a sports family still. And there's football on since, you know, starting at 10 o'clock, ending at 8 o'clock at night. So that pretty much takes up your whole day. And plus with the turkey and all that, you know, by 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, you're done. You're ready for sleep. So I can't say there's one film I have to watch on Thanksgiving that I need to watch on Thanksgiving. But if I have to say one, it would probably be Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I think that's the safe bet.
Now, that, you know, that was, we made that the movie of the month this month, basically.
Which makes sense.
On our social media, whatever our cover page is basically the movie of the month. This month was obviously Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. However, there is a few other Thanksgiving films that I'd like to mention and talk about that maybe some of you guys have not seen. And though I will be watching John Candy and Steve Martin's classic, I think there might be a few movies that you should look into. The first one stars our good old friend Ed O'Neill, also known as Al Bundy, in his film called Dutch. Louis, did you ever see this movie? Because I know we've talked about it before.
Yeah, I believe we go back to last year's Thanksgiving podcast. We did talk about Dutch, and I haven't seen it. And you said you were going to lend me the copy, and I'm still waiting for the copy. So no, I have not. But I love Ed O'Neill. Just love the guy. So I'm sure, I need to give that one. You will love
this movie. It is your classic. Classic, road trip movie of two people who can't stand themselves. It's very similar to Planes, Trains, and Automobiles in that we're following these people who just can't stand each other. However, the difference is, Ed O'Neill is trying to befriend this young boy who is the son of his girlfriend. Possibly his future stepson, or if you will. So it is this movie about same setup. Ed O'Neill is this big talker, John Candy-like guy who's just trying to be liked, and this, we have the other bitter person who doesn't want to be anywhere near this type of situation. Very, very, very funny. I think I still quote that movie for the most random quotes. Like there's a scene when they're driving in the pitch black, and Ed O'Neill looks out the window and he's like, "Wow." And the kid said, "What?" And then Ed O'Neill goes, "Those mountains are beautiful, aren't they?" He immediately looks and he can't see anything. So, great film. If you have not seen it, Dutch, I'm sure it's on Netflix. I actually believe it's on Instant right now. I will double check. But great movie, Ed O'Neill. I'm trying to remember who the dad is in that movie. I can't think off the top of my head. But I believe the dad is very famous too. Well, not very famous. It is on Netflix, so you can watch it. It is streaming right now on Netflix. I might have started playing it right now. Let me see here. Let me see the actors in this real quick. Well, while I'm looking that up, I'm going to move on real quick. There's another film I want to talk about, and I believe Louis did see this, but this is one of those movies that might not come up in your head when you immediately think of Thanksgiving movies. By the way, really quick, it is Christopher McDonald, who was better known as Shooter McGavin, who is also in Dutch. A great movie. Again, I really recommend it on Netflix. Now, the next one we're going to talk about is not so much a Thanksgiving movie that just kind of sets place on the holiday, and that is a Woody Allen film, and that's called Hannah and Her Sisters. And if you've never seen this movie, this is also one of Woody Allen's best films. This is classic 80s Woody Allen. Believe it was in 86. Mia Farrow's in it. We have Michael Caine. Really, really great cat. We have Barbara Hershey, Diane West. Hilarious film. One of my favorite Woody Allen films. It's a classic, and it takes place, I'm pretty sure it's over 2 Thanksgiving, but I know there's 1 Thanksgiving in it for sure. There's affairs going on, Unfaithful Sisters. It's your perfect holiday movie, because if we know anything about holidays, that you're stuck with your family, and sometimes, those aren't the people you want to be stuck with, even if it is once or twice a year. However, I'm excited to be with my family. And
nice save.
Thank you. And of course, last but not least, the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. You have to watch it. I'm sure it'll be on TV. I actually realized the other day that I haven't seen a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving in quite some time, so I'm definitely going to be trying to record that and watch it because it's been a while. But that leads me to a quick question to you, Louis. Did you know they're making a Peanuts movie?
No, I did not.
I did not either until the other day when I discovered that they're going to be making Peanuts, the movie, and all the it's a teaser trailer, and it's just Snoopy on his house. But I am excited to kind of see that because, as you know, I am quite a big fan of Snoopy and the gang, Charlie Brown gang. But anyway, go check those movies out. Enjoy your holiday. Well, it's over now, I'm sure. But I hope you enjoyed your holidays. And hey, who cares if you watch a Thanksgiving movie a little bit late? That doesn't matter. Moving on. So today was kind of big in the sense that there was a major trailer drop today. And today's Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving that we're recording this. Louis, do you know what trailer that I'm talking about is?
I sure do. I think I do.
Yes. Today was the release of Jurassic World, the latest installment in the Jurassic Park franchise with Chris Pratt. The trailer dropped today. Louis, did you get a chance to watch it?
Now, the original plan for the trailer was supposed to be released
on Thanksgiving, correct?
Yeah, on Thanksgiving during the Sunday night football game between Seattle and San Francisco. That was supposed to be the big reveal. Earlier this past week, I think on Monday, the 24th, they had a teaser. I did see the teaser. I know today, which is Tuesday, they released the trailer. So, who cares? Here we go. We're going to release it online. And I couldn't wait. So I did view it right before we got on the podcast because I am a big fan of the Jurassic Park series. And the trailer got me hopeful for a better one. It does look interesting. It does look promising. I'm a big fan of Chris Pratt. I think he's very, very talented, and I do enjoy his films and TV performances on Park and Rec. So I'm happy about that, and I think they could do a better job than the second and third one because let's be honest, the second and third one was definitely not as good as the first one. But at the same time, it's just, I don't know. I think if we learn any lesson from the first series is like, why would you create a park of this again? It didn't do well. And why do you play with Mother Nature and genetics? Because if Jeff Goldblum's character taught us anything, is life always finds a way. And I think these characters are just like forgetting all of that, disobeying all of that. And let's do this, let's create this. Oh, it doesn't, it could be dangerous, but we're going to do it anyways. And granted, people may do that because of the money and whatnot, but I don't know. That part I'm not totally buying yet, but I do hope Jeff Goldblum with some of the original characters at least make some cameo appearance in the film because that would be amazing. Or even the kids from the first one, we haven't seen them in a while, and that'd be pretty cool to have them appear in the film as well. But I'm hopeful. Hopefully it's a good blockbuster film.
Yeah, I don't know. This trailer to me was not exactly what I expected at all. I didn't read anything about it really. When me and Louis were in high school, we ran our school's film club, and we used to talk about movie news And we talked about Jurassic 4 back then. So, I mean, we've been talking about this forever, but I never read any plot details. And hearing in the trailer that there's a hybrid dinosaur, to me, is like, what?
Yeah, well, I wasn't too happy about that either.
Yeah, and I don't know. Like, the whole movie doesn't look... I have to admit, I was a little bit disappointed. I mean, I am excited to see what we could do, and the power that we have now with the special effects will be awesome. Though you watch Jurassic Park now, that movie does not look dated. That movie, like, the effects are solidly they're more practical, obviously, than computer generated, but that movie holds up. Chris Pratt, I mean, I don't know. There were some really things that just turned me off, like the Chris Pratt line. It's whatever they cooked in that lab. That dinosaur. I'm like, what? Is that like an actual line of dialogue? And run. I don't know. Like you said, I mean, the fact that they went ahead and were like, all right, we're going to open it up after all those people died. I mean, I don't know. To be honest, I don't remember the second and third one, so I don't even know what happened in those films. I barely remember those. I just remember the beginning of the second film when that little girl gets eaten by all the little dinosaurs or gets bit. And
that was messed up.
Yeah, that's the only part I really remember. But, I don't know if this is the right path. I mean, it looks very science fiction-y. I mean, we have like this, I don't know what you would call it, but this
like
machine,
the pod.
Yeah, a pod that just drives, and they're all roaming with the dinosaurs, and then you have Chris Pratt on a dirt bike with some raptors or something. Like, I don't know. It looks a bit cheesy and campy for me. I don't know. But the one thing that did kind of spark my interest, well, two things. One was the piano. The piano playing the score was, really awesome. It was very slow because it seemed like it's a little bit more of a horror film. At the same time as being very much like Jurassic Park was. It was a family movie, but definitely had some scary moments. Was the scene when it's a cut scene where you see a character being dragged through the mud, and it's just his feet. And to me, if they do that kind of setup where we're not really seeing the monsters or the dinosaurs, I'm sorry, or I don't know, a hybrid dinosaur, I guess is a monster, but a dinosaur, and you just kind of have that suspense of waiting to finally see him or her, whatever it may be. I think that'll be really awesome. They really missed that kind of suspenseful, not seeing the creature in the first 5 minutes type deal. So I think that'd be a really cool thing to kind of go back, and just do first person type stuff. But other than that, I mean, I don't know. It could be a flip of a coin.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking about this hybrid monster dinosaur. I don't know why I said monster because you put it in my head. Dinosaur, and I'm just thinking the raptors were a great, quote unquote villain.
Yeah,
T-Rex was an amazing villain. Yeah. So you could have easily stuck to dinosaurs like that. And there, I'm taking a fossil records class right now, and there are so many different dinosaurs out there that rarely get mentioned in public. That are just as big, as ugly and mean as those types of dinosaurs. That introduce us to some new breeds of dinosaurs instead of making one up. And I think I would have appreciated that much more too.
Yeah, I mean, they could have been a little bit more creative. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they will. Who knows what they're making? But like you said, I really hope Goldblum finds his way in to make a cameo. And it is also
yes.
Go on.
No, go continue.
And also, let's see here. I'm trying to go on. You say I have to look something up real quick.
No, well, mine was not even on Jurassic Park and dinosaurs. It's like trying to segue into another.
You're segueing into something else before I'm even done?
Yeah, I thought you were done.
So I'm just thinking about the last couple movies that Steven Spielberg has been behind. And
not directing per se, but
not directing, because he's not directing this either.
Yes.
But there's been a few where I'm like, ooh, I don't know anymore. Like it doesn't hold the kind of. I mean, we have Men in Black 3. We have Transformers: Age of Extinction. We have the 100-Foot Journey, which we did not see. And then we have Jurassic World. But I mean, those last couple have not been very impressive. Before Men in Black 3, we had Real Steel, War Horse. I mean, Cowboys and Aliens. I don't know. So I'm not sure how this. I mean, hopefully, Steven Spielberg is really passionate about this project and is really hands-on. I hope.
Well, because unlike those projects, his name was tied to this franchise long before, he's directed the first one, and I think even the second one. So maybe it's more of a passion for him to stay on as producer,
Yeah. Well, I hope he has a huge influence on the movie. I really, really hope that, we feel that those classic Steven Spielberg moments. The director who is taking on Jurassic World has only done very little stuff. He did one short, one documentary, one TV movie, and then did one feature film. So he is a very fresh filmmaker. Colin Trevorrow, like tomorrow, Trevorrow, Trvorrow. So R-O, so Trevorrow. So Colin Trevorrow. He did Safety Not Guaranteed 2 years ago, which was a 2012 film that had to do with time travel.
Yes, and I did watch that, and I did enjoy that film very much.
We talked about that, right? Those are from the producers who did Little Miss Sunshine.
Yeah, and then Aubrey Plaza is in it as the main character. And that was good, but when you think about that film, you don't think of something like Jurassic Park at all.
That's a really big franchise. So
big jump.
Spielberg must be very, very confident in this man's work, because I highly doubt that they're going to go with the director that Steven Spielberg isn't. Crazy about. So, all right, well, that's going to be Jurassic Park. What was your segue, bud?
Well, another big trailer is dropping Thanksgiving week.
Yes.
And it is Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. Now, in all Regal theaters across America, this trailer is going to be playing in all movies. And if you go online, they list all the states that are participating in this. And unfortunately, Nevada is not one of them. So, this doesn't do us any good.
Yeah.
But if you're in New York, Arizona, even Canada, parts of Canada, you go to any movie this weekend starting Thanksgiving, you're going to see, I think it's about 88 seconds to, I think 88 seconds, maybe, 90 seconds of new footage of the Star Wars Episode 7. So, that's great news, and I'm sure it's going to get leaked online for those who can't wait for its official release.
Yeah, I saw that too. It's supposed to be late. So maybe since we are recording this podcast early, we'll come back and we'll talk about that a little bit.
Yes.
Depending on when we release this and how our Thanksgiving weeks goes. And if it even leaks online, which I'm sure it will, but just in case. What is your thoughts? I know you are a big Star Wars fan. We've talked about this many times. I don't know if we've addressed the title really.
I don't know. I think maybe briefly.
What are your thoughts on the title of The Force Awakens? I
love it. Actually, I think it's very, very clever, and it sounds like a good name. I am a big Star Wars fan, but I am positive that there are many, many more people who are such bigger fans than I am, because there's so many different stories in books and comics and what have you, where it just expands the universe so much, past the films. And I think there's a couple stories that, after, Darth Vader was defeated, that everything was peaceful in the galaxy and that no one needed to use the Force. Like everything was, joyful, peace, and, there was no
need for the use of it.
Exactly, until something bad happens, until someone awakens the Force. And I think this is like, going in that direction, which I'd be fascinated by. There's plenty of rumors online circulating about what happens in this one. And this past week, there was a new one that contains a lot of spoilers. So I won't discuss it here because I know you don't like to be spoiled.
Oh, no.
And I'm sure many people who are listening, they don't like to be spoiled either. But I do love to be spoiled. So I did read the article. And this rumor has some bold, key elements that they say will happen in Episode 7. And if that's the case, like, wow. It's huge. It's big. I can't, this is going to be crazy. Now, I don't know to believe it or not, but if they go in that direction, it's going to get a lot of people talking, a lot of people going to the theaters, and it's probably going to divide a lot of the fans also. So it's big, and I'm excited. I can't wait to see the trailer, and I can't wait for 2015 to come.
How
about you?
The first I heard it, I didn't know if it was that intense. I mean, there were so many articles. People were talking about articles. They were saying that the movies that have the Star Wars films that subtitles start with "the" are the most successful. And they were talking about how this one doesn't have "the." And I mean, I read some really crazy things. I don't know the source of that article, but I didn't write that. I didn't create that up. I can't think off the top of my head. I mean, I read that a while back. But I mean, the more I thought about it, I like it. It's not too impactful. Like, I mean, what is your favorite subtitle, actually?
Probably Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, mine too. And that's The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
But Empire Strikes Back, and even that sounds kind of cheesy. I mean, when you watch it, you're like, oh, the Empire does strike back.
Yeah.
And
it's great.
It is. And I don't know, but I mean, at the same time, titles don't make a movie either. But I mean, I think now that you told me that and I know what it means, I think it's a little bit more exciting.
Yeah, like if you know the backstory to it, it's like, okay, cool. So we get in the place where the Force is not needed. They're not trading Jedis, and also what happens when you need the Force again? Who's going to provide that? And I think introducing the new characters, Luke's kids, Han's kid, it's going to be interesting how they establish that. And titles are defined by the movies. A good movie makes a great title. It's not the other way around.
Absolutely.
So, time will tell.
Time will tell, and we have until 2 Decembers from now, 2016, right?
I guess 2016. I thought it was next year.
Well, maybe it is next year.
I was being hopeful.
I actually think you're right.
I'd be disappointed.
Why would you listen to me? I don't even read stuff.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe that's a lot of effects to do. So maybe that's a lot of posts.
No, I believe it is December. Is it 2015? Yeah, it is 2015.
Okay, there you go.
So so a year. We have a year, which is a long time in movie time.
No, I was getting nervous too. I couldn't wait for 2016. I'd be like, oh, come on.
So yeah. Well. Okay. Why are we talking about Star Wars?
Because of the trailers.
Okay. Yeah, the trailers. So I will be anxiously waiting the trailer. I will not be at the theaters on Friday, but I will be excited to see it once it is out.
Absolutely.
So, Louis, let's take it over to movie news. Do you have anything for us besides what we just talked about? Because that technically wasn't movie news, but, that's how we do.
That's how we roll. And I do have a couple of movie news, very brief. Nothing too major, depending on what you classify as major.
Okay.
We're going to get into Harbor Bosses 2, and that was a comedy sequel. A couple weeks ago, you discussed Dumb and Dumber 2, another comedy sequel.
Yes.
Earlier this year, we both enjoyed 22 Jump Street.
Yes, which just came out to Blu-ray and DVD.
Which we both enjoyed. So a lot of these sequels have been doing pretty good, if not really successful at the box office. And so that leads me to the first news. Another comedy is planning its sequel for production very soon. It's gaining a lot of momentum according to different reports. And Deadline has reported that Zoolander 2 is moving forward with its sequel. And they're releasing some casting news. Much of the regular cast is returning. You're going to get Ben Stiller, of course. You're going to get Owen Wilson, Will Ferrell. But Penelope Cruz has been added to Zoolander 2 as well. And they expect more news to come in the following months. And production is to start sometime in early 2015 to spring 2015, give or take.
And what is your thoughts about Zoolander?
I like a lot of Ben Stiller films. The first couple of times I watch it, I'm not impressed. But the more I watch it, the more I appreciate it. Like the first 2 times I watched Tropic Thunder and even Dodgeball, I'm like, this is stupid. This is idiotic. I hate it. But it's like the 3rd, 4th time it's on TV.
Why are you watching these
I don't know. It's on TV every time. and I watch it and I'm like, oh my God. Never mind, this is genius. Like, I love Tropic Thunder now. And I do like Dodgeball a lot. Zoolander, there's a big cult following. I'm not part of that cult following, but I kind of do appreciate it. It has its moments. It really does.
Sick.
I know I'm sick, and I do we need another Zoolander? Probably not. But did we need another Dumb and Dumber? No. So why, if they could do it, man, give Ben Stiller his due. Let him have another Zoolander if he really wants it. Go for it. And I do like Penelope Cruz. She is still very talented and very beautiful. So having her appear in Zoolander, maybe as a model, I think could be very interesting and promising.
I'm a fan of Penelope Cruz, but at the same time, like, I don't know if this movie needs to be made. I'm not a fan of Zoolander, so, this movie isn't going to be made for me, just like Dumb and Dumber 2 wasn't necessarily made for me. I just wasn't a fan of, I was not a fan of those. So, the movies you're mentioning, Zoolander in particular, I'm just like, I don't even remember watching Zoolander after it came out. Like, I remember it was really big when it came out. People still talk about it and quote it, but I don't think I've watched that movie since its like release. And the only thing I really, really remember is that everyone blows up by lighting themselves in a gasoline fight. And I remember obviously Zoolander, the villain in Zoolander, Will Ferrell. But other than that, not a big fan. So I won't be super excited to see this, but then again, maybe the second one will grow on me. But then again, like I said, his movies aren't my style in the first place. So except Cable Guy. I absolutely love Cable Guy. So that was the exception.
It's kind of funny that many people don't mention that because obviously he's not in it. He does direct it. He has, I think, as a cameo on the TV.
Yeah, he's the twin brothers.
Yeah, but that's a brilliant in itself, and he does have the eye for comedy in certain areas, and he did direct Tropic Thunder. I don't know who's going to be directing Zoolander 2, but it'd be interesting to see if Ben Stiller takes it upon himself to direct it as well.
Yeah, and you, amongst a lot of other people, have told me to take my time to rewatch Tropic Thunder because I only watched it that one time, and I haven't gotten around to it, but I did say I'd give it another chance. But that also, I'm not I'm not holding my breath either.
Yeah, the first two times I'm like, this is overrated. This is stupid.
Maybe you just let it go. Maybe you just gave up and you were like,
no. But then I'm like, Robert Downey Jr. is amazing in that performance, and it's such a parody on Hollywood stereotypes and actors and the production company, and even Matthew McConaughey, before he's beloved by everyone now, has a very good role in this, and he's extremely funny in this. And to see him, this is a couple years before he took off, so that that's cool to see. And Tom Cruise, I just like it. I appreciate it now. Sometimes it takes a while to see what you have in front of you, and Tropic Thunder is one of those films.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see. What else is going on in the world of movie news?
This is fairly interesting, especially because we just saw a movie. I don't know if we could discuss yet, but we saw a film starring Oscar Isaac.
We saw it. We just can't talk about it.
But he got cast in a big part coming up. He's going to play the villain in X-Men Apocalypse. He's going to be playing Apocalypse, and that's very intriguing right there. You have a great cast already of young, talented actors, and then you add him into the mix as the main villain. And that's setting itself for big success.
Yeah, I know we talked about briefly that there was a few other actors, including Tom Hardy, I believe, was in talks.
That was correct.
So, this is casting, as we've all learned, is so hard to kind of predict, to say, oh, that's not going to work, or this will really work. It's really hard to say that because so many actors have been like, oh, that'll be awesome, and then it's not so awesome, and then there's actors who are like, that won't work, and they absolutely kill it. So, in my opinion, it's so hard to talk about casting, but with his performance that I've seen him in thus far, his performances, I do not doubt his talent. So, yeah, as Josh Bay would say, I got nothing else to say about that.
Yeah, hey, I think that sounds fair enough. And then moving on to more casting news. This is right up your alley. This is all you, Jake.
Hit
If
me.
you don't like this, then you're not my friend.
Hit me.
So we're gearing up for production of Bond 24. You love Bond 23. Was it Bond 23? They came out with Bardem.
Yes.
You love Bardem as the villain in that one, if I recall correctly.
Mm-hmm.
They called it Skyfall, right?
Yeah, it was Skyfall. James
Yeah,
Skyfall.
they changed the title. Well, Bond 24, that's the title. It's gearing up, it's casting. Our good buddy Dave Bautista has been cast in the villain role, so that's gonna be cool to see
Oh
him.
wow! I did not know his casting.
Yeah, he's gonna be like one of the mean henchmen. I forgot the name. But that's big news for him after his success with the Guardians of the Galaxy to jump into Bond. His career is taken off, but they cast their main villain. And I'm not a big Bond fan. I don't know the history, but apparently this actor is going to be playing Ernest Starvo Blofeld.
I believe we talked about this with Michael when Michael's on the podcast. We go, are you talking about the casting of Christoph Waltz?
Yes, and I need your excitement once again.
Christoph Waltz is one of my favorite actors working today. And I am so excited that he's actually going to be in this film. With as much as I like Skyfall, it is one of the, if not my favorite Bond film. And it's definitely because of Bardem is a big chunk of it. But I thought it was the first Skyfall that kind of felt out of the James Bond franchise and just felt really like it stayed on its own. Granted, that's why people call it Skyfall and not like 007.
Bond.
Though everyone, I guess, called it Casino Royale too, but that was a real popular one. So, I mean, I'm going in like, okay, maybe they could do it again, but I don't know if Skyfall was like a one-time hit for me, but Christoph Waltz is the one thing it's going to take for me to get in the chair. So that's really exciting. I love Christoph Waltz. I think he's one of the best villains there are. I'm glad that he's playing a different kind of villain, because, we've seen him a lot. I mean, he's done many roles, but we've all learned him to be the villain in, Quentin Tarantino's films. Mm-hmm. And though the movie we're going to talk about later, Whole Bosses 2, he plays the villain, this movie is going to allow us to really see him play a different type of villain, I hope, and I'm really excited to that. But people already heard what I had to say. What do you have to say about this, Louis?
I love Christoph Waltz, and I think everyone does. I haven't heard one person say a negative thing about him, and I've yet to see Skyfall.
Are you serious? You didn't see Skyfall with us?
No.
Let the sky fall.
I think I boycotted it because I knew you were going to be doing that during the majority of the film.
We can stand tall, I'll face it all together at Skyfall. When the sky fall. That is not owned by me in any sense. It's all Adele. Adele. Great song. We have to review it so we don't get sued for copyright. Great song.
A beautiful song.
I really do love that song. And it's an Oscar-winning song.
Add that, too, so you know it's good, right?
So, I'm still hoping to sing that at my next karaoke party.
That's the real question, actually. Is like, we know Christoph Waltz is going to be great.
Did they say who's singing the new song? I swear they did.
I haven't heard anything.
Really? I could have sworn they said someone's doing a song.
I
thought it was a guy, too.
Really? That's the big question. How is the new song going to hold up? Because Skyfall was an amazing song. And if you're not even if you're not a film fan, you sing the song. You heard the song. You love the song. So it has big suits to film. Not only the movie, but the song itself. So that should be interesting where it leads us.
I was funny because the other day I stumbled upon Day After Tomorrow, I believe it was. Mm-hmm. It was the later one, and it had Madonna doing the theme song. Or not Day After Tomorrow. Oh, jeez.
Tomorrow Never Dies?
No, it wasn't Tomorrow Never Dies. Is it Tomorrow Never Dies? No, Tomorrow Never Dies is old. Die Another Day.
Die Another Day.
Die Another Day. You got to die. And that song was pretty catchy, too. And I was like, oh, I forgot this song. Man, that song was really big. And if you remember the music video, it was like Madonna in white versus Madonna in black. Uh-huh. Real whatever. But it ain't nothing. You ain't got nothing on Skyfall. Skyfall is my favorite songs of the year, period. I just love that.
Yeah. It is a great song.
I'm not finding anything for a singer. I could have swore I heard something. Yeah. Rihanna. That's right. Rihanna was rumored to be doing the song, but rumored.
And that'd be a good choice to go into.
Yeah. This was back in October, though. I'm looking at this on IGN.com. But yeah, those songs are catchy, man.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, there ain't no beating Skyfall.
See, like, as good as Skyfall, I have to, go back and stay loyal to my roots and say, Live and Let Die is the greatest Bond theme of all time.
Just live and die.
You can't
Just
argue
live
Sir
and
Paul
let
McCartney.
sky fall. Ooh, what a blend.
That'd be a good mashup.
Well, I'm sure we have a lot less viewers than we did when we started.
Oh, yeah. They gave up.
Anyway, all right, what else is going on in the world of movie news, or is that it?
One quick, because I am selfish and need to talk about this. A few months ago, I mentioned that David O. Russell's reteaming with Jennifer Lawrence about the Miracle Mop movie, if you recall. And it's going to start production sometime in the spring of next year, right before she does X-Men. And it should be released in Christmas time of 2015. Where David O. Russell released some more news about it, that he's, finished rewriting the script, adding his own elements to it. And he added some interesting choices of who else he wants to cast in the film. He mentioned Bradley Cooper. He mentioned Leonardo DiCaprio. And he mentioned Robert De Niro. And the only one that confirmed that was Robert De Niro. In a recent interview, he said he will be playing Jennifer Lawrence's father in the Miracle Mop movie.
So pretty much he was like, I only want to really work with everyone that I've worked with already.
In the past 2 years.
Yeah. So.
And I guess you can't argue that because it's worked for him. And I'm excited because, I'm a big De Niro fan. And he's been good in David O. Russell films.
Bobby D.
And I'm sure he could do well with David Ross and Jennifer Lawrence again. So there you go.
Well, I'm excited to see JLo's new film because the last one wasn't that exciting.
Ew. Ew.
I'm just saying.
Ew.
All right. Well, moving on. There's two major releases. One has been released in I believe most of the nation already. We were like one of the last ones to get it. But, I can't really write about it until it's out in our city. The other is a major comedy. Louis, why don't you take the lead and pull the classic Q&A and tell me which one you want to do first and ask me some questions.
I don't know. What do you want to do first? That's my first question in this Q&A.
Let's do the theory of everything.
Let's do a theory of everything. Okay, for those who do not know about the theory of everything, because it has been really well advertised out here for us.
Yes.
Explain, what is the theory of everything?
Theory of Everything is what seems to be like a biopic on Stephen Hawking, if you've seen the trailers. However, it is a biopic per se, but it is more about traveling to infinity, my life with Stephen, which is a memoir that his ex-wife, Jane Hawking, wrote. So to me, one of the first things I wrote in my review is, so this is not about the science, this is about the man and his wife. They are divorced. They've been divorced for quite some time, so it's not a spoiler alert. But that does take a major portion of the film. And going into this movie, I was very excited because I'm a big, big fan of biopics. Just like I love reading biographies, I love reading biopics or watching biopics. One of my favorites, as I've mentioned many times on the podcast before, is what, Louis? Is Ray.
I was going to say Ray.
Ray is always like I love that movie. Getting Up wasn't as strong for me this year, thinking about it, but definitely a big fan of the biopic. Now, I know of Stephen Hawking, and I've watched some of his shows, and in going through school, we watched a lot of stuff on Stephen Hawking, but personally, I'm very ignorant to that man. I do not know much about him. I did not know where he came from. I didn't know much about his life. I didn't know if he was born without the use of his muscles or not. So this,
really?
No, I really didn't. And I don't mind saying stuff like that because, hey, I'm not going to lie about what I know, what I don't know. I don't mind opening that. And I honestly don't think a lot of people do know, because I mentioned the name Stephen Hawking and a lot of people don't even know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, which is sad.
It is.
I don't want to hear that.
But moving on, like I said, this film is not just about him, though. It is really focusing on a relationship between two people. I called this film one of the greatest love stories of our time. And I say that in the sense that it goes far beyond high school sweethearts. It goes far beyond Till Death Do Us Part. As we've mentioned already, these two have gotten a divorce. But it's the movie really focuses on what another human being can do for another human being, to dedicate one's life to care and support and to be the backbone, literally, actually, for another person. In this movie, it broke my heart and then lifted me back up and inspired me in ways that most movies do not. Even though this movie is not about the science, as my friend Walter White would say, it is all about the chemistry. And that might have been cheesy, but still. This movie literally this movie weighs on the shoulders of the chemistry between actress Felicity Jones and actor Eddie Redmayne. And their chemistry is so real and at times so heartbreaking and heart-wrenching or just beautiful. It is honestly just inspiring. I was lucky enough to bring my girlfriend with me, and we both were just in tears. We were laughing. But don't get me wrong, this movie is not one of those really, downer type films. It's very inspiring at the same time. I mean, you definitely go through the ups and downs of this man's life. He also happens to be one of the funniest, wittiest men I've seen on screen all year as well. Eddie Redmayne, let's talk about his performance first, is incredible. Literally took a hold of the character. Me and Louie have talked about it many times. There's a performance when an actor literally disappears, even if he doesn't have makeup, even if he doesn't have anything, he just disappears into a role, and you can't see him anymore. And this performance is exactly what I'm talking about. Stephen Hawking himself said at times while watching the movie, he thought it was home video of him. He thought it was me. I thought it was me. It's exactly what he said. That's a quote from Stephen Hawking himself. It is one of the best performances of the year. I am sure you will see it on the Academy Awards nominations list. If not, it would be a crime. So beautiful. So beautiful. Felicity Jones. Okay, so we have a character who a lot of people have always kind of said when actors take on roles that are physically challenging or mentally challenging of characters, they get that attention. However, as much as Eddie Redmayne took on this role that is, must have been emotionally exhausting. It was physically exhausting as well, as he had to learn to replicate his mannerisms and all these things and being in the chair and halfway through the movie towards the end not being able to communicate clearly, and then at one point not at all. So to me, when Eddie Redmayne is talking to his wife and using the voice of a computer, and it is still delivered amazingly with his eyes and his look, it becomes an anocular performance. That says something about an actor. Oh my God, that says something. But however, as well as he did, he was equally matched by Felicity Jones, who played Jane Hawking, who literally decided to take this weight on her shoulders, not in a negative way, but as Steven's dad calls it in the film, it's not a battle, it's a defeat that we're all going to have to face when he is told that he has 2 years to live. She accepts that battle and does not let it be conquered, and that is a beautiful journey in itself. We have this man who is trying to find his purpose and trying to really exceed in a subject that not many people dedicate their life to, and then you have a woman who's simply dedicating her life to him, and she's trying to figure out what her purpose in life is. I mean, it is an extraordinary, beautiful film. It is a challenging film, but it is also one of the most rewarding films of the year as well. One of my favorites of 2014. Amazing performances, amazing chemistry, beautifully shot. 4 out of 4 stars all the way. One of my favorite films of the year. Easy.
Put it on the board.
Put it on the board. I honestly have never seen, I can't even think, but easily one of the greatest love stories of our time.
And that's good to hear, because a man like Stephen Hawking does deserve a film equally as great as him. So I'm glad.
And I'm actually looking forward to reading that memoir, which was based off again by Jane Hawking, called Traveling to Infinity: My Life with Stephen. So I'm very, very excited to. I mean, because he writes A Brief History in Time in the movie, and I was like, I shouldn't try to read that, because that's not about his life. That's about stuff I probably won't understand. But I could definitely read this memoir and hopefully understand it. But wonderful, wonderful movie. I mean, super, super good. Wonderful direction, wonderful style, very just touching. And like I said, it's a movie that will really put you on your ass, but pick you back up and really make you feel like you are powerful.
Yeah, because, I can't say that I'm by no means an expert on Stephen Hawking, but I have always been interested in his life and his career. And, and this goes back, I guess, to, being a Yankee fan with the Lou Gehrig disease. I was aware of the disease, and, learning that Stephen Hawking had the same type of disease definitely piqued my interest. Like, wow, and especially now with the whole recent ice bucket challenge, it's the disease has been around for a long time, and we still have no cure in sight. And, to get this back in the forefront is a good thing. And it is a tragic story, but at the same time, it is inspiring and it is beautiful, because this man didn't let anything get in his way, and let his great mind and passion for something really shine through, because all the work that he's done is timeless.
Yeah.
He's a fascinating human being, a fascinating man, and he didn't let that stop him, and that's beautiful in itself,
And one of the things he says, there's, it's very rare where a lot of quotes at me, and this movie had a bunch of them.
Mm-hmm.
And, when he is first told that, he says, Stephen, you have this disease, it's eventually going to shut down, your motor skills or your muscles. And he says, what about my brain? It's the first thing he asks. The man is given a death sentence, and he asks, what about his brain? Because he knows that's his most important thing about him, and he needs to make sure that he could do his work. But in the film, in one of the last speeches, he says, where there is life, there is hope. And that really sums up that movie and that man's journey. I mean, there is no better sum up for that. And really, really beautiful, really wonderful film.
Yeah,
Go see it. It came out on Wednesday. Go see it. I don't know if it's going to be playing in a lot of theaters, but one of the best films of the year. Moving on. We have a total opposite movie. We have Horrible Bosses 2, sequel to the 2011 film, which is the highest grossing dark comedy of all time.
That's crazy.
It is. And this film stars Jason Sudeikis, Jason Bateman, Charlie Day, has cameos from Kevin Spacey, Jennifer Aniston, also co-stars Chris Pine and Christoph Waltz. Horrible Bosses 2 tells the story of these three friends that we met, a few years ago, who have created a business. And after being duped by a businessman played by Christoph Waltz, they decide the only way to get their money back and save their businesses as well as their lives is to kidnap his son, played by Chris Pine. Louis, what are your questions? Let's break this one down.
I was a big fan of the first one. I absolutely love the first one, and it's mostly because of the chemistry in the main cast. With Bateman, Sudeikis, and they work wonders with one another. In the first one, you could tell that they are having a great time, they get along, and they are generally funny people, and it just clicked. And I just want to know, and that's what made the first one so successful. How is it in the second one?
So,
are they firing on all cylinders?
This movie depends on them and their chemistry. Mm-hmm. And just like the first one, they are firing on all cylinders. It is ridiculously magical how powerful they are, and how well they do. Each one of them are able to bring different layers of comedy to the mix, and I think that's why it works. We have Charlie Day, who is the spastic, dumb friend who doesn't really put two and two together, who's just wild and is just running around jumping. You know, you have Jason Sudeikis, who is always just looking out for the women and always just kind of meshing the two. And you have Jason Bateman, who's the normal one, who's like, why am I friends with these people? I mean, but they all work, excuse me, they all work so well together that you cannot ignore how funny each of them are. And you might just like one's type of comedy, and the other two might not be as funny. One might become annoying. But I mean, to me, all three work, and that's what makes the movie so hilarious. Let me see here. Just their chemistry. I mean, you could tell when people work together and they're having a good time, and that's really reflective in when you watch people work, and you could just tell these guys are having a blast. Not to mention, it also shows in the bloopers just how much fun they have together. You could tell that friendship's real, and that those guys feel like old friends. Your old friends from high school that are still doing stupid crap. Like, what are you guys doing? I mean, absolutely hilarious. And, you know, doesn't make the fatal mistake of what Dumb and Dumber does and makes everyone that. Doesn't make dumb the status quo. Everyone else is just looking like, what? Really? Though they managed to do some crazy things. It is absolutely hilarious. Mentioning Christoph, I mean, do you have any, okay, here. How's
the villains? Because in the first one, another great aspect of it is all the bosses are horrible in their own ways. You know, Colin Farrell kind of loses himself in that performance, and it's another side we haven't seen from him. Jennifer Aniston, you know, wow, we've never seen Jennifer Aniston act like that, behave like that, and that was so fun, refreshing to see. And again, and then the main man, Kevin Spacey, is always brilliant in anything he does, and he just is like awesome in the first one. So how does the villain stack up? I know we get cameos from some of the bosses, but the main focus is on two different villains of the film.
Yeah. You know, though you have three leads that absolutely kill this movie, they absolutely nail it. I mean, it is brilliant that they have co-stars just as funny. From Kevin Spacey, who literally had me in tears in this movie, who's in it for maybe 5 minutes total. Absolutely hilarious. Jennifer Aniston can still put everyone's jaw on the floor when she gets real raunchy, and she gets real raunchy in this movie. And she's funny. But Waltz, who is one of the greatest dramatic actors we have nowadays, we saw on SNL, who delivered a wonderful comedic performance too. And I was like, wow, I can't believe he can do comedy so well. And he really does it well in this movie. Though he plays a villain that doesn't try to be funny, you know, he is funny in his very own way. Very subtle, but equally as strong and comedic. However, I would say out of Jamie Foxx, you know, who also is in the movie and has a cameo per se, is also very funny and just, you know, the same. I can't even say his name because his character's name is really bad word. Equally great seeing him. But, I mean, Pine takes the cake for supporting character. He gave a performance unlike anything I've ever seen him in. He is outrageously crazy and funny. As I was telling Louis, I mean, this guy, this proves this guy could play the Joker. He could be the Joker. Because
and that's big praise coming from you.
Just how crazy his laughs are and how psycho he is. I mean, he'd be a really happy Joker, not a very dark Joker, but like, he is so laughing so hard and so funny, it's kind of scary. Just all these performances really blend, and it's so rare you could get that many stars who aren't even all comedic, you know, or comedy stars. You know, they're all great actors, and putting them all together, amazing. I mean, you have three comedic leads who are all great in their comedies, but then you have, Kevin Spacey, Christoph Waltz, like those aren't, you know, those might not be the first things that pop in your head when comedy is said, but they really prove themselves in this movie. I mean, wow. Absolutely hilarious. Everyone works together well. Probably the funniest movie I've seen all year. I'm trying to think about the other comedies that came out this year.
So what's a better sequel? 22
no, there's no debate. This was the funniest sequel of the year. Easy. I mean, 20 Jump Street was good, but this movie is solid. This is, honestly, I want to say it's the best comedy of the year, but off the top of my head, I can't think what else funny movie came out, but the fact I can't remember them obviously proves that this is probably the funniest movie of the year so far. Though I will say,
like always,
the movie is coming out tonight. At midnight while we're recording this, which is Wednesday. as of right now, it seems like the critic world does not agree with me on this. A lot of people seem to be very against it and don't think it's very funny. So I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure if
it's how can you not like it? Like, I don't know, because I just love those guys and everyone involved so much. It's like, even if it was lesser than the first one,
a lot of people are blaming it on the fact that it is
Is it identical to the first one? Like,
it's similar. It really is similar. I mean, it's about three guys coming up with another dumb plan, but they're so much fun. Like, you have fun with them. It doesn't matter what people are doing if you're having fun with them. And and that's how I feel, and that's how.
But is it like the Hangover effect? Like Hangover Part 2, everyone criticized because it's basically the same film.
Personally, no, I don't think so. I feel like it's different. It does. I can't say it's way different, in that sense, because
well, in theory, it's the same because these guys are
in theory it's similar, but to me, I don't feel it's like
they're not doing the same gags per se, where they're gonna get this boss in the same predicament. They're in another predicament where they have to do this instead of that.
Yeah. Okay. I do know that. Yeah, not much this year, man. I mean, I'm looking at our reviews, and I'm probably missing some, but I have Ride Along. I have, which was okay. I have The Other Woman, which we absolutely hated. Neighbors was pretty good. But absolutely, I could say, if by looking at these, Horrible Bosses is the funniest movie of the year.
And that makes me so happy.
Well, all right, if you want to read a review on these films, go to ChasingCinema.com. You can find the Theory of Everything and Horrible Bosses 2 reviews up there. Also, make sure to check out our YouTube, youtube.com/ChasingCinema. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/ChasingCinema. Follow us at Twitter, you guessed it, Chasing Cinema. Have a great Turkey Day. Well, I hope you had a great Turkey Day. Enjoy some movie watching. Watch some of those movies. Get out to the theaters because, ladies and gentlemen, it is award season, and they are coming with everything they got. As Louis said, they're coming firing on all cylinders. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Jacob Toronto.
Louis Corzolo.
Please continue chasing cinema.